this is Janet Diane Moria Swerdlow with another edition of Healthy Living for Expansions.com. Today we are going to make a chocolate cheesecake, and you are going to be amazed at how tasty this is and how easy it is. Plus, it's really not so bad for you. So, let's get started. First of all, I have melting over here in my little saucepan 4 tablespoons of butter, which is a half of a cube. So while that's melting, last time I made a cheesecake with you, I showed you how to take your graham crackers, put it in a bag, and use a rolling pin to turn it into crumbs. Today we're going to work with a Cuisinart, if you have one, or you could even do this in your blender. We're going to use this blade, and this is the brand of gluten-free graham crackers that I like to use, but you can use any type of cookie that you want for your crust. Just turn it into crumbs, mix it with a little bit of butter, and some recipes tell you to put sugar in, but personally I think the cookies are sweet enough. I don't think you need to do that. So I have a half a box, or about 10 crackers, these gluten-free crackers I'm just going to put in here. And if you don't have a Cuisinart, you know, I went many years without one, so I'm going to suggest you get yourself one, especially during the holiday season, January, when the stores are doing inventory. You can probably get a really good price on one, and they have saved me so much work and make things so much faster, and in this busy world, you can't do things too fast anymore. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and plug it in, turn it on, and let's get some crumbs going. Okay, you can see how fast that went. So, turn off my butter. I always unplug everything before I stick my hands in. Take that out and put it in our mixing bowl. Okay, the butter is all melted, so that's going to go in. And then we just stir that together. It's very easy to make a graham cracker crust. And it's very easy to make a gluten-free one if you happen to incorporate gluten-free into your lifestyle. I know I've been gluten-free for almost my entire life, before gluten-free was cool. So just want to make sure we get all those crumbs. Now, if you want a thicker crust, you can use more graham crackers in your recipe, but I like a relatively thin one because I want to keep the carbs down. I already have my springform pan over here. This is an 8-inch one. I've shown it to you before. It's got this little buckle on it where you can open and close. And I like to bake it on a foil-covered cookie sheet. That's Buddy cleaning out the cat's dishes. As you can tell, he likes to help with that whenever he can. So let's see if we can move him away. Okay, Buddy, that's enough. There we go. It's life in the Swerdlow household. Anyway, so I have the springform ready to go. And let's just go ahead and show you how easy it is to put it in. Yep. There's Buddy again. Alright, and then you can just press it down. And like I said, I don't use a lot of graham crackers, so it's going to be fairly thin. If you want it to go up the sides, if you want to do it a thicker one and you want it to go up the sides, what you can do is take a piece of saran wrap or plastic wrap, you put it in the bottom, and then you take a cup and you kind of mush it around the sides. And as I said, I don't really do that because I don't want so much of a crust anyway, but I try to make it as even as possible. And that does help with baking as well. But it's just so easy to do. And again, you're a home cook, you're not a professional. So the main thing is we really don't care as much about how it looks, it's just we want it nice and tasty. Okay. Once you have your crust done, then you're going to go on to your filling. So what I have here in this bowl is 3 organic chocolate bars, approximately 12 ounces dark chocolate, broken up into pieces. I'm going to take a half a cup of boiling water, and I'm going to add into it 1 tablespoon of instant organic coffee. Now remember what I told you before, that adding a little bit of coffee into your chocolate makes your chocolate taste more chocolatey. So that's going in. Then this is going over the chocolate to melt it. We'll see what we can do here in this. I'm going to just let it sit for a minute, because that will start melting it. If you can't do it all in a cup like what I have here, then you may want to put it in a saucepan. If we need to do that, we will too. Which is where I usually put it, but it's kind of hard to see it in a dark pan, so I thought, well, we'll try the cup. So while this is sitting here, melting a little bit, we're going to work on with the filling. Move this out of the way. Going to go to our eggs. And I've shown you before how to separate them, but I'm going to do it again, just in case you've forgotten. It's very easy. We're going to put the whites in one side. So we're going to beat them separately. It will help to give our cheesecake a little bit of volume. And like I said, I've done this for years and years, so for me it's very easy. And I know there are all kinds of tools out there that will help you separate out your egg whites, but a little bit of practice, this is, as far as I'm concerned, the easiest and most efficient. So we need 4 eggs total. There goes egg number 3. And our last one. Oop. Egg yolk overboard. There we go. Okay, egg yolks on this side. I'm going to go back to our Cuisinart. Let's see how our chocolate's melting. Well, it's making progress. We may wind up with a pot before we're done, but see how far we can get. Alright, so we're going to use this blade again in the Cuisinart. We're going to use the egg yolks and put those in. And we're going to use 4 tablespoons of our coconut crystals. That's going to go in. And a half a teaspoon of salt. Good quality sea salt. We're going to turn it on. This for a second and see how it looks. Nice. Oh yeah, it's nice and thick in there. You can see. So we're going to take 2 8-ounce bars of cream cheese and put it in the mix. Now I've let this come to room temperature. So if you don't do that, you want to be sure and chop it up to make it easier on your machine. But this is room temperature. And we need to get a knife to get some of this cream cheese off of here. So it's nice and soft, which is the way it's supposed to be. So hold on a second. Alright, let's get the rest of this cream cheese off. We don't waste anything, at least as little as possible. That in there. That. And we're going to turn on our Cuisinart again. Okay, let's check it out. Okay, it's getting nice and creamy. I want to take this down off the side, make sure all the ingredients are in there. This you cannot overbeat. Okay, so let's let that go a little bit more, maybe another 2 or 3 minutes, and while that's happening, I'll come over here and I'm going to melt the chocolate. I didn't get a good enough melt in my last bowl. And then on very low heat. We don't want to bring our chocolate to a boil. We just want it warm enough, barely warm enough, to melt everything together. There we go. Set this aside. How this is looking. Oh, beautiful. You see how nice and thick that is now? Alright, so the next step is we're going to pour in our chocolate mixture. So in this goes. You see, it's a very easy recipe to do. Okay, so that's your half a cup of water, your melted chocolate, your tablespoon of instant coffee in there. And here we go. Okay, let's see how that's looking. Okay, again, it's nice and smooth and creamy, just what we're going for. It's very good. And we're going to add in at this point about a tablespoon of vanilla. If you want other flavorings, you can put them in now. Almonds, some people like to put liqueurs in. About a tablespoon is really all that you need. Let's add that. Alright, plug it, and we're going to put this into our mixing bowl, because we also still have to do the egg whites for this particular recipe. So this is going to go in. Now if you use a Cuisinart, after you put the first batch of batter in, you will need to wash it. I've done it both ways. Where that I haven't washed it, I've just put my egg whites in there, and I think it turns out okay. But I think overall the results are better if we wash in between, so that your egg whites go in a nice clean bowl. Because egg whites can be a little bit on the delicate side. And then it will help your batter to be just a little bit lighter. Okay, I think that's what we can get. Okay, I've washed out the Cuisinart. Remember the 4 egg whites. That's going to go in here with the same blade in the middle. I'm just going to put the top on. I'm going to let that go for 3 or 4 minutes. Alright, let's see how this is looking. Oh, nice. You can see how these egg whites are getting all nice and creamy in here. Okay, you want to let them go for another minute or so, and then we're going to add in 4 more tablespoons of the coconut sugar. Here we go. See how that looks. Okay, it's also nice and smooth, but I want it to go just a little bit more. And then we're just going to simply fold that into our other batter. take a look and see what we have here. All right, it's kind of liquefied a little bit, but it's all right. Had it do both ways and it will still turn out. And here's the cheesecake batter. We're just simply going to pour. This one's going to pour in. We're not going to be doing too much folding. And as I said, I've done it both ways and I've had it always turn out. So we just kind of fold this into our chocolate batter. Let's take our chocolate spatula, work everything in. In the meantime, I have my oven preheating on 350. We're going to put it into the pan and then we're going to bake it for about 45 minutes and then turn the oven off and not peak, just like the other cheesecake. We're going to let it continue sitting in the oven until your oven is cool. So what I like to do is I like to make my cheesecakes at night so it can just sit in my oven overnight, because I do use my oven a lot during the day. Seems like I'm always cooking something because most of the food we eat are things that we make here in our household. So let's get this off. So you can see it's a really nice, smooth, creamy cheesecake even before we get it into the batter and bake it. So here we go. And again, this is an 8-inch cheesecake pan. If you have smaller or larger, you're going to vary your time. Mine is 8-inch, and I put it in for 45 minutes at 350 Fahrenheit. So let's put it here. And of course, you want to make sure it's as even as it can be across the top of your pan so that it will bake evenly and smoothly. And the other thing that you want to remember is when you do put it in your oven, try to get it in the middle of the oven for the same reason. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. My oven is heated. I'm just going to put it in and set my timer for about 45 minutes. Okay, and then I will be back to turn it off, but we won't peak until morning, and you can help me take it out of the oven and we'll see what it looks like then. Our cheesecake is set overnight, it's baked, and it's cooled off. We're going to open the oven, you're going to look with me, we're going to see what it looks like. It's cool, I don't need a hot mat. So we're going to pull it out. Okay, look at that, it's beautiful. Now it does tend to settle and crack, and that's okay. What I'm going to do is I will take some heavy whipping cream, put it through my Cuisinart with a little bit of vanilla and a little bit of either maple syrup or a little, maybe a tablespoon of the coconut sugar. And if you want, you can make it chocolate. You can throw in a little cocoa as well. Mix it in your Cuisinart and just put it on top, and it's beautiful. So the only thing is to serve it. I'm going to let it sit for a while. But you just go around the edge with a knife, and then you're going to unbuckle it and lift off your ring, and you have a beautiful cheesecake. So there you have it. A nice chocolate cheesecake, relatively healthy, relatively low carb. If you cut this into about 16 pieces, each piece will only have about 20 carbs. If you decide to take away the crust, you can do it for about 15. So anyway, enjoy your cheesecake because that's one of our favorites. Thank you again, Janet Diane Moya Swerdlow, HealthyLivingExpansions.com.